Benjamin Zulu, wacha nikwambie, ameingia hapa amevaa 3-piece suit, nikamwambia lazima atoke so that he walks in tuone, yani mwenye ameshona hizo tu lazima apate credit kidogo. Benjamin, please, karibu. Nikukaribishe. Makofi. Hey. Umeng'ara boss. Ebu kuja hapa katikati please. Ona hii 3 unaenda wapi? Paka uko unajua sasa corona, but you even have a new watch.
Thank you.
Your wife is doing very well.
Yeah, she is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You look really good, man.
Asante.
Did you dress like this for me? Is it for Full Circle?
Yes, for the show. You know, we need to talk about this in this mood.
Oh, so umekuja kaa prop, practical. Leo ni practical.
Because it's romantic issues.
Okay. So tunapea wanaume example.
You know.
I like it. Well, we want to talk about costly mistakes people make when they're dating.
That's right.
And, everybody talks about the fruit thereafter, a happy marriage, God willing. And very few of us talk about the root, like what it actually takes and what are the sort of stepping stones, the foundations towards having that happy marriage. And dating obviously is a huge part of it. Figuring out who to date is the right thing, is the first thing. And I think there's been many discussions we've had on this show. And I've always ended up saying, Aki, I think we need to talk about how to actually date well. And I keep saying date with your eyes open.
That's right.
So that's what we want to tackle here today. What stands out for you today when you look at our society, our world today, and dating? People are making mistakes then, it seems.
I'll tell you 4 mistakes, and the first 3 have everything to do with the timing. The common mistakes I see in dating. When you hear there's a lot of divorce, marriages are struggling, people are talking about the marriage. But we should go back and check the foundation. What was going wrong? How did you come in? So the first mistake is dating too soon, before you're 25. I want to tell all pre-25s that you are using, let's call it a brain that is interim.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, but okay.
Your brain finishes, it's called prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain. Our babies have a hole, something that is... Figuratively, although the hole fills up soon, figuratively inside the brain is still taking a step. Up to 25, that's when especially women can think straight when still under the effect of love.
Women or men?
Men also, but at 25 most men are still not ready. At 25 most women are ready.
Okay.
Men are not only ready psychologically, they also need financial readiness. So even if he can accommodate love and he can't pay for it, he is not ready.
Okay.
But for women, many times it's about, ladies are so, their constitution involves a lot of feeling, the baby, connecting the husband, doing what, thinking while it's still feeling, accommodating, loving. Because of all that package of our work, a lot of it is very emotional.
Yeah.
So the brain of all people, both men and women, finishing stabilizing at 25. But being ready to date, for women, I ask them not to do it any time before 25. Okay. I've done this research for so long, and I want to tell you, there's a dear who went to a dancing competition and danced herself lame before her turn. I will tell these girls who are in the university, 22, 23, 24, and I have done so much work and even given them names according to the age groups.
Okay.
Okay. And I tell 19 and 20 are just children who are doing it in hiding. So they're eating sugar while hiding. Others checking whether mommy is coming. So if you're 19 and 20, you're dating, you're just a kid who is eating sugar, leaving particles. I did not eat, it's not me, and it's all over you. If you're 21 and 22, these are kids who are happily lost, and even when they're walking on the road, they behave with defiance. So they defy the adult culture. 23-year-olds are the ones who are the most lost because society thinks she's grown. But internally, she's very lost and very confused. So, and 24-year-olds have an illusion that they have grown, that they're ready.
Wow.
So dating too soon is the first mistake. Mistake number 2.
Can we take it after the break? Yeah, let's take the second mistake after the break. I'm here with Benjamin Zulu talking about costly mistakes when dating. And he's going to tell us the second one and the rest of them after this break. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, here with Benjamin Zulu, and we're considering the topic today, costly mistakes while dating. And just before we jump back to that, Carol from Eldoret says, good morning, Joyce. Sema Benja Kutesa. You say thanks for the wonderful topic. Mwingine anasema, Wololo, today Benjamin has nailed it, manze. He looks good for real. Hata mimi nimepewa compliment, hata kama Benjamin hakuniambia nimekaa poa. Asante sana Carol from Juja. Mwingine anasema, Benjamin, you're killing it. I'm 19 and taking notes.
Wow.
Someone has already, it's good though, because umesema at that age they should tulia, sindio? Watulie. Someone else says, hey Joyce, I guess this guy I'm dating is 37 and I'm 27. He seems old but very mature and focused, and I'm fearing we won't be compatible. I'm the picnic girl type and lovey-dovey. Okay, but he seems old and I want to be happy. And I want us to touch on this question even just before you jump into the other mistakes that we commonly make, in as far as, you know, you've said girls, generally women, we are not really ready to date. You're advising we should wait until 25. But then you also said men by that point also, they've not figured themselves out, let alone be ready for dating.
That's right.
So this brings into question, like, for ladies then, are we talking about dating men who are like in their 30s, you know? And then what happens with this sort of age gap question? Because now here, if you're saying men will mature a bit more later in life, obviously that age gap is going to expand.
Right. That's right.
So to this person's question, 37, 27, that's a decade's difference.
That's
Do you then have to worry about things?
Our complaint is not even his age. It is his spirit. He has a very old spirit. He's very conservative.
So it's that he's conservative, it's not the age.
Yes. I want to ask people to look at people's mindset. There are people who are 25 but they're rigid. They're very conservative. They go very slow. They don't want you to, they're not open to new experiences. So 10 years is manageable.
Yeah.
Very manageable. Sometimes people even go to 12. What matters is you need to be able to connect. Okay, so check a person's maturity. All right. So can I go to the other mistakes? So the first problem is when you date too soon, before you're 25, you mix up your seasons in life, you rush into things and you regret it. You need to wait until you're 25 to know what you want in life. Okay. The second one is dating for too long. If you are dating, you're in a relationship and it's past 2 years, and you're walking around saying, this is our third year in relationship, we're in a committed relationship, I tell you, you're in a confused relationship.
More than 2 years. 2 years is...
That's too long. I allow only two, out of my experience.
Najua kuna watu wamefanya 7 years.
Okay, let me tell you, if it's 7 years, it's other people studied also medicine degree in 7 years and they became DJs, not doctors. So if you date for 7 years and you don't become couples, we are not surprised.
Okay.
Let me tell you what happens. Even if it's a long distance relationship, there's supposed to be communication and progress. And women, I want to warn you, your time is more sensitive. Society has imposed so much deadlines on women. And men are allowed to come back at 38 and say, I was busy, can I marry you? But I want to ask ladies to be very careful. Past 2 years, you're wasting your time. Another problem is when you stay too long in a relationship, it begins to resemble marriage. And now familiarity sets in. The man begins to see your weaknesses because he has been around you so long. Now irritations come in. The common conflicts that come from relationship now find you before you are protected by a contract. And he begins to think you are less attractive than other women there, who he knows less. And you cannot charm him. You cannot keep him charmed for 3 years. You need to conclude this deal while you're still under your spell.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, guys know what they want. I believe that because there's so many people who've been quote unquote bad boys, but when they meet the woman, you hear they're getting married next month.
Thank you, because the woman has said, "I'm not here for games."
Yeah.
It's the woman to set the standard.
Okay.
Okay. So the man pursues, but the woman determines what she wants.
All right.
All right. So the third thing is committing too soon. Don't get babies, don't move in together. Don't say now he has already visited, my people have visited, now we can move in together. Women aim so low and they sell themselves short. Don't get pregnant and these pre-25s catch pregnancy like flu. I realized I was paged. You would think she was beaten by what happened? Do you know? So I start teaching the basics in biology. Sex, pregnancy comes from, and I go back to Form 1 biology. Reproduction. Oh, no. So I want to ask them to not commit too soon. So those three mistakes are about timing. Yeah. Know the seasons of your life. Wait until you're 25. Secondly, when you're dating, don't go past 2 years as much as possible. This is interview, sweetie. Do it for two months. I mean, talk. talk and know whether you're going anywhere. And if you're compatible, find out whether the guy is ready. Some people you're compatible. Don't fall for anyone before they have asked you whether they want to marry you.
Right.
The third one is don't commit too soon. The fourth one, the last one I want to touch about is involving too many people. Don't start talking to the in-law to be, the mother-in-law to be. Don't start talking to, I don't know who. This is the candidate. You want to qualify or disqualify them without too many strings attached.
Right.
I've seen so many people, they date with a child, akona mtoto, and then they tell, I want to leave this guy, but my child is already so attached to him so much. Their children love me so much. He's a boy who loves me so. Why did you involve third parties?
So for when it's a child, you should probably be honest. Tell them you have a child, but don't at you start trying to create a new father relationship or a new mother relationship.
Don't expose your children to candidates because they're coming and going.
Yeah.
Let them know you have a child. They can even see the child. But that frequent cumulative gifts, doing what people use it as manipulation to know that they will hook the child because the child is your soft spot. Next time, you also need to tell ladies that when you date a man who was a child, many times the child is more important to him than even you. The people are so attached to the child because of history, how they got the child, they fought so much together. That also happens with women. But you need to be careful when you're dating yourself with a child. So I want us to go to the questions, but I want to wrap this one here. We have said the art of dating. If you want to date right, you want to come at the right time and do not over delay there. Overall, people have only 5 years for dating, generally. If you want to date at the prime, at the peak of your powers.
What do you mean 5 years? Per person or like total?
Most people, the period that they could date in a primal ways. I mean, the first, if you start 26 to 30, that's 5 years.
Okay.
That's what I mean. For most people, and there's something else that we'll discuss another time called emotional fatigue. If you prolong dating for too long, 10 years, 15 years, you get emotional fatigue. Those disappointments and hoping and your hopes going up and going down, being disappointed, you're hoping you don't get it, you can get tired and say, I'll marry whoever comes next. That's how you end up in bad marriages.
Okay.
So watch out for emotional fatigue. Give yourself a span of like 5 years of aggressive, active searching. For me, I was working in 2 years and it worked. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've already brought up pregnancy, and clearly that, you don't want to be, creating children when you're not even committed. You've not defined what your relationship is or where it's going. But there's a lot of people who then say that I have to settle with this person because of the baby. And obviously that's a difficult discussion because on the one hand, you want the child had no fault and you want them to grow up in as stable an environment as possible. But what do you suggest in situations like those?
Think long term. Don't think short term. This baby will grow and go, but is this person good for you? You don't just marry for parenting is part of why we marry, want to parent together, give our children. But if the pregnancy was a mistake, you did not intend it, you do not think, and all that, Ama, you have realized things that make it impossible, don't force it because of the baby. Better to co-parent. Better to co-parent later than to move in and then there's tension. Children will be affected more by the strife and the strife and conflict between the two of you than the child will be affected by the absence of one parent. So what children need is a peaceful environment. Whether that peaceful environment has one parent or two parents, sometimes it varies. But if you have to choose between a peaceful environment and conflict between the two of you, better give the child a peaceful environment with you alone.
Okay. To some of the questions here, someone is saying, good morning, Joyce. I married when I was 23, so I don't agree with Benjamin because I believe you can mature at an early age and know what you want. It depends on who you are individually.
That's right. Human relations, human principles are not cast on stone. We are saying in general, most people will be ready at 25. You can cross the river Tana on a rope. And successfully, you won't be beaten by crocodiles. But do we recommend that as the safest method for everyone?
Okay.
So there are people who manage it. We are not saying you cannot. But that when you sit where I sit and you're dealing with those cases and even do research, you realize 95 or even 99% of people who do it pre-25, they get it wrong and they come to regret.
Okay, and I guess that will address this next question too, which said, I'm loving and following the show, and there are couples who get married before the age of 25, both the guy and the lady, and yet they still live well. Having said that, my question to Zulu is, does maturity really come with age?
Maturity is a very wide topic. But when you talk about mental development, your mind develops with its own schedule. And the different compartments mature. A baby's brain will finish maturing those parts that sustain life. Even by the time the baby is born, they're developed.
Right.
Breathing, heartbeat, and all that. But the part that controls reasoning and feeling will finish maturing on average, usually 24 to 26, but average is 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mutethia Mutiga, watching from Nairobi, here says, say hi to Benjamin Hapo. He looks sharp in that suit. But in Kenya, we say, leo umeamua kutuharibia yako yote. Anyway, and then they say, it's nice to tell young people that it's a mistake to date too early. Some are so confident in their confusion. Oh, dear. Okay. I like this one. So, Joyce, what are the ladies supposed to be doing before 25?
Thank you. Let me tell
Now,
you.
unajua ma-aunties wanatupea stress.
Let me tell you what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be learning your personality, mastering your personality and your career and your craft, discovering what you're good at, reading books, attending online trainings, focusing on your school work. Because many of them attend classes lazily and they study 2 weeks to exam. You go and make a niche. This country is very squeezed. We are too many of us. Even in Africa, we are too many of us. The jobs are fewer than us. Differentiate yourself by acquiring skills that give you an edge. So while others are going for dates, for rave, you go in library, study, develop a website if you're an IT person. Produce something. Learn yourself, widen your scope, expand your horizons, get to know. That's what I did myself in campus. That's why today I can do things that I love. Although I was studying something that was very far away from what I wanted. It was law, but because I focused on it, I realized I would start with the law, but I will not stay with it. So study yourself to know, is this what I want to do for life? Because sometimes we are studying courses that are not really into our personalities. How can you expand yourself? So distinguish yourself career-wise, distinguish yourself in self-awareness in those 4 or 5 years.
Okay. I also wanted to touch on boundaries, because this seems to be one of the most costly mistakes people make in relationships, in dating, that they have no boundaries or that they don't enforce those boundaries. And you've mentioned a few. Tena your story as you've moved into the guy's house, Mara, you're the house help, you're the one who's cooking, and he's not even defined you in us, because people talk around us saying they have situationships. Right? So you're acting as the wife with no title that has been bestowed to you. And someone here is saying, whenever I ask him why he has set no boundaries with even other female friends, inakuwa a big deal and he gets angry. Do I quit mapema before I get another heartbreak? Because his behavior ameipata after he ghosted me. So I'm like, alitoana na all these chicks wapi. He's totally changed, yet he says he loves me. Kindly advise.
That girl is not yet 25. That question is coming from up. I know how they talk. I know their language. They fling back and forth from clarity to confusion. So if he is behaving like that, you should have set an ultimatum. Either straighten up or I go. Simple, sister. Don't complicate this. Tell him, I want this kind of standard. If you don't have it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So don't fall in love with a man before he qualifies by your test. Okay. And if he ghosts you, don't run after him, because now he will only take you on his own terms. Let people run after you so that you take them in on your own terms. Sisters, learn this. Don't be too afraid to lose. If you go to the market, you're not too afraid to lose. That desire, that desperation, that impatience will be used against you, and you contract tilted relationships where you need the man so much he can abuse you and you still stay. You need to be free. Actually, don't fall in love before you get the assurance.
Okay. Huyu mwingine at least amesema miaka zake. She's 22 years old and she started dating her guy at 18. You should see Benjamin's face. Oh my God. He's 5 years older than me and we've been dating for almost 5 years.
Can you say a prayer?
Is that a mistake, as Benjamin?
Can you say a prayer?
Benjamin.
Sister, please go back and do a personality test. Know how you're created. The course you're studying, now go study the books, go to library, study how men think without doing anything with any of them. When you went to Form 1, let me talk to that guy. When you went to Form 1, did you go to the laboratory straight away? No, Form 1 and Form 2, they told you don't go to the laboratory. Study theory first. If you went to the laboratory straight, soon there will have been an explosion. You would have been burnt. That's what you're doing. You don't know what you shall become. You're still 22. At 27, you'll be looking at the people you love and you'll be throwing up. Looking at the guy you used to cherish. Your brain is still developing. Please respect your seasons. Right now, do theory, not practicals.
Suti imeingia na moto.
And by the way, I want to ask this girl to go and try some recipes in the mother's kitchen,
okay,
to cook a few things in the kitchen. Instead of going to a guy's house, go to your mother's house. Okay. Learn how to run a home. Ask mommy some questions about when they were young, what they were doing. You are skipping something you miss.
Yeah.
And, oh, God forbid, if you risk pregnancy, because they don't know how to prevent pregnancy, they know how to have sex, but they don't know how to prevent. When you ask them, do you use family planning? It's not good for me, and I'm so young. I learned it's not good, but are you having sex? Yes, but are you safe? And then, I don't know, I did not know how I got paged. I know them. These are my students.
Oh my God.
I like calling it my junior class. And I told them I'm resigning from becoming their class teacher because they keep repeating the mistakes. I don't like family planning. That's not good. I'm young, but you are doing it. So, God forbid, don't get pregnant, sister.
Well, okay. Umetulia? Hey Joyce, I'm Maggie. You're really a blessing to many. Amen to that. And you say, I really enjoy all your shows. I'd appreciate if one day you had a discussion about how to get married to a widower. Very interesting. And how to know if they're really done with grieving, because that's really straining your marriage and you can't imagine you didn't see all that before you got married. Okay, thank you for that. A good suggestion. But back to today's topic here. Someone is saying, hey Joyce and Zulu, I'm following and loving the show. There are couples who get married both before the age of 25. I think I already touched on that one. So let me scroll up further. Naomi from Eldoret is saying, so if guys know what they want and they take so long to make up their mind, like for me, we dated 5 years and I feel like he's with
the games go on because you continue playing.
Can I finish the question? And I feel he's withdrawn. Can we say they use us? Because as for me, I expected it to be forever, but no, I feel wasted. Another friend is saying, a friend of mine got into a relationship 3 months ago. She got engaged after 3 months. Okay. And is now buying expensive... and is now buying expensive household things for the in-laws. I think she's mad.
Okay. The second one needs some prayers for... You know those pastors who do exorcism?
Okay, Nani, we're not laughing at people, but we're laughing at the things we do to ourselves.
Yes. Let's start with the first one, who dated 5 years.
Yeah.
And I want to ask her to date for a purpose. It is because of purposeless dating that you encounter too long delays. Mm-hmm. A man who used to love you, if you overstay, he can get used to you. You need to go into marriage to learn each other there when there's a protection of a contract.
And I think there's something very important you're saying here, Benjamin, because a lot of times people sort of justify the long dating season to sort of say that they're testing how it will be in marriage. But I don't know what happens when you make that vow before God and you mean it sincerely, something switches in you. Yeah. So that whereas when you're dating, you have that freedom to sort of test. When you're married, you know, this is it.
This must work.
And I'm going to make it work, rain or sunshine.
So when you are dating, the interview does not mean you get in because your emotions will get involved. Your heart does not know experimental loving. Just love him, we say that it works so that I pull you out. Your heart doesn't know that. And I want to ask women, because your emotions are more intense, you are more family oriented. Actually, you define yourself by your marriage, your family. That's part of your identity, you know. While men have a capricious ability to detach. Which you don't have. You stand to lose more in this prolonged thing. He can go to the next girl easier. I want to ask this lady, now that you've learned your mistake, conduct interviews, study whether it works, date with a purpose. It is lack of purpose that makes dating prolong so long, and it's the woman who is losing more ultimately. Soon your instincts will start to ask for a baby because you begin to feel now it's like, I found my man, it's him who I've known so long, better the devil I know. Then you compromise. So do not overstay. And if you overstayed in the past, tell yourself sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I have a very interesting question for you. You ready? Someone here says, Joyce, please help me. I'm 30 years old and I'm dating a 19-year-old. I guess it's a guy who's 30 because he says, I can see she is mature enough and I have a child who loves her so much and I also love her, but she's too young to settle with because I know her parents won't allow me to be with her because I'm so much older than her.
Those are two children.
He's 30.
He has a child and another child. He said he has a child.
Yeah.
Dating another child. I want to ask this guy to give himself time. I don't ask him to, because anasema, he says he loves the girl. I don't want to ask you to leave the girl. That you will feel like I'll just ask you take time. Give it 5 years.
But then you've said not to date for 5 years.
No, this girl is too young. It is not even a wife material. She does not know herself. Okay. You know how insects develop? Egg, larva, pupa, maggot, adult. This is a maggot. You don't know what she'll become. Okay. Symbolically, I don't call her maggot. Yes. But her brain is still what also I'm calling the acting brain, the developing brain. So you can't say she's good or bad. She might turn into something you cannot recognize. Yeah. I know guys who have dated such a wild woman. And I asked him, what happened? You know, man, she was 22, now she's 27, she's not sleeping now, she comes 2 a.m., no. You are suffocating this girl, you are making her skip a stage. And one day she will wake up. When girls reach 25, they wake up as if from sleep. And they begin to wonder what happened. She will realize you shortchanged her. She will go back for the exploration which you deprived her. I want to ask you, man, if you are a man, go for 26-year-old man. Let them challenge you. Let me ask you a mature question. This girl can't know what men are supposed to be asked. Maybe she's flowing easily. That's why you feel falling for her. Go for a girl who can ask you, what's your plan? So how have you handled this money since you started working? What about this one? What about this one? This girl, I think she can't see. She's just seeing around. Oh, you're so romantic. You brought me chocolate. Oh my God, look at the lollipop. So this girl is easy to please.
Oh no. Okay. Let me read a few SMSs. Gisha from Katanga says, people in campus fall in love because of money, not really love. And another person says, I married at 26, but I wish I waited to 30. Like career-wise, I would be so far. Marrying early delays your career or even ruins it. Right now, I want to follow my career, but I'm tied to my kids and my husband. Please advise on how to follow your career in marriage.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for validating it.
You can comment on it briefly.
When you marry at 26, you probably started dating at 24 thereabout. I want to ask this one because you have realized now you can still do it. But I want to ask those of us who are outside here, value the career and your personal. And Joyce, we need to tell people that it's not the man or the woman who give you deepest happiness. It's conducting your purpose in life. It's walking in your purpose. That woman, that man should align with your calling from God.
Yeah.
You have a calling. It's supposed to be your first mission, you know, so that if you are media personality, you're already in media. By the time he finds you, he knows what they're dealing with. If you deal with a 19, 20, 23, you don't know what they'll become. They just look like a university student. Maybe that's why most great celebs' marriages follow, because they contracted the marriage before they became. When they finally became themselves, the partner could not handle it because they thought they married a simple person. And I want to warn media personalities. Those of us who are celebs have this part, you're known so much, if you come up here and then you start thinking wife materials. I saw one guy who keeps advertising, I need a wife, inbox me. Another keeps getting a baby this and they're very, very popular people because they think wife materials are allowed people. Virtuous women are low key. Right. You won't find them by advertising that way. You must come personally. So make the search personal. She will evaluate you so personally. If you are still doing those funny, she will think, what kind of woman are you? They won't depend on you. So if you realize you're progressing in life, when it comes to dating, also seek help. Because one of the problems we do is we don't invest in learning it. We don't buy books. We don't see coaches. Right. We don't do anything for it. We think we will follow by instinct. So I want to ask people, value first your calling.
Okay. Discover it
to some extent. So by the time you marry, you can tell what you're becoming.
All right. Let me read a couple SMSs and then you can respond collectively. Someone else says, Joyce, you and Benjamin are looking great, asante sana. And you say, can you please talk about these guys who threaten to commit suicide if you leave them? Wow.
Manipulation. That's manipulation. Now run away. Even if he commits suicide, that's not your life. Even if you stay, he will still be manipulative. That's not love, but manipulation.
Someone else says, Joyce, I like the topic. I wish someone enlightened me when I was still young. Now I'm 30 years old and still not settled. Do you think I can find love at this age?
Yes, you can.
I think so too. And then you say, I heard someone asking, Sasa mtu akiwa 30, when will she date, get married, have kids? Time will have moved so much and I'm just left wondering too. Kristen, you will be fine. If that's God's plan for you, it will happen in his time.
Do it right. When you're 30, if you date, I call it principles of purposeful dating, and I train it in my coaching.
Yeah.
Please date purposefully and you will find. Don't be impatient.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, kuna mtu hapa anauliza if entanglement is healthy. Wewe aki
hata vile umeita, the question you have used already answers.
Answers it.
Yes.
Yeah. Jameni, that song there means my time is up. Benjamin, I really want to thank you for your time today. Wow, this conversation, I feel like we need to have a part 2 of it, or at least an extension of it in some sort. But asante sana for your company. As always, your contacts?
On Facebook page, Benjamin Zulu KE. Facebook page, Benjamin Zulu KE. Or other platforms also, Benjamin Zulu KE. Email benjaminzuluke@gmail.com.
All right. With that said, guys, we're going to take a break now. Thank you for sending in your feedback and your comments on this subject. We'll be back after this.